Hey everybody, it's Jaime and Amanda, and we're back to give you 5 key insights that every seller needs to know. Welcome to Living in DeSoto County, Mississippi with Local Agency Realty Group, the YouTube channel dedicated to all things in Northwest Mississippi.
We're your hosts, Amanda Linton and Jamie Ross. We're local residents, moms, wives, and business owner realtors.
We're excited to share with you all the great things about the place that we call home. If you're interested in keeping up with all the things happening in and around DeSoto County, Mississippi,
like what it's like to live, eat, sleep, and work here, then be sure to tap the little bell to subscribe so you'll be notified when we have new content. All right, so let's just get into it.
Let's get into it.
At your listing appointments, what is the most important thing that you think a seller needs to know?
The seller wants to know, absolutely, and I want to convey it, is we got to pick the perfect price.
Yep.
I think a lot of people have notions on what they think their house is worth, and so they are so anxious to find out what we think their house is worth or what we think it can sell for.
It's almost like they kind of like don't listen to all of the listing presentation because they want to get to that point.
Absolutely. They're like, I could tell they're a little antsy and they want to go straight to the thing. So I usually set expectations when I walk in the door and say, hey, quick presentation. I want you to know about me. I want you to know about all the services and the things I provide. And then I've got a lot of data that we're going to dive into, and we're going to figure out what the price should be on this property. And so I found over time that usually gets people settled down. But yeah, pricing is key, and getting it wrong means sitting on the market for a really long time. I say that out of both sides of my mouth, because sometimes you can have the price perfectly right, and you sit on the market for a long time, because it really just depends on, is there a buyer for that property? You could have a unique property, really big, in a different part of the town. That
could be historic.
Could be lots of land. Could just be a really expensive home. Could be really small. I mean, just every house is unique.
Yeah.
And so there's a perfect price point for every house, and there's a buyer for every house.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it just takes a minute for those to collide. But usually, if we get the price wrong up front, and I usually know that that's happening at the listing and presentation. Sometimes sellers are absolutely stuck on their numbers. That just kind of sets the listing up for failure. And usually, it's hard to even get the number that I suggested that we would be able to get, because the market's conveying a totally different price at this point.
Yep.
Well, what's this next key point? I think we should talk about first impressions.
Yes, absolutely. So we all know that in the year 2024, 2025, the first place that most folks are going to see a listing is online, period.
Absolutely.
One of the things I love about the way that we do business is that we don't ever do cell phone photography. There's a time and a place.
I can take a good selfie.
I can too.
But I can't take a picture of your kitchen.
No, I'm going to hire that
job.
Professional photographer every single time, because as soon as I want that first picture to be eye-catching, something that people want to click on and scroll through. I don't want people to start scrolling through the pictures and they're like, or like, I can't really understand what this room is. That's not what we want, right?
Right. And you bring up a good point. There's another service that we offer, which is the Matterport.
Yes.
And what that does is take those elements of a house that might feel a little choppy. In reality, it might not be, but it just may not. Photography might not do so well in showing the flow of a house, but that's where a Matterport comes in.
Yeah.
So now they can actually tour through the house and see the flow. They can scroll up, they can scroll down, they look at the floor, look at the cabinets, they can look at every single thing about that house, and they absolutely know how to get through that property, and it makes much better sense.
I've actually had buyers come from out of town to see my listings before who have walked through my listings and said, this is kind of surreal to be here, because I've gone through that virtual tour so many times. I feel like I've been here before. You know,
when we have a high impression count on our Matterports, I know that people are paying attention to the listing. The other thing is, as far as first impression goes, is that neighborhood, the street, the yard. It's not all about just the digital assets that we produce. It's about what the homeowner can do to make sure that once we can get people to come in there, because we can sell that house and get people coming, but they could be turned off when they hit the driveway. If the flower beds are all outgrown, the yard's not looking good, just
even
different issues.
If it's, we talk about personalization inside, but outside too. People start, from the moment they pull up, people start imagining what their life could look like in this home.
Oh, yeah.
And if there's a dog in the yard, but they're not dog people, or the lawn's not really kept up, but they really prefer, fresh cut grass, they're already forming opinions that this property doesn't really jive with me,
And that's okay, because we do know that not every buyer's for every house, and that's okay. So we're going to come across those people that are not them, but we can't rule out every buyer because people don't take care of the outside of their house. They're not cutting the grass, trash piled up on the street, neglect.
Yes, projects.
Yes, and people don't pay attention to like the wood around their house. That's the last. They pull up, they hit that garage door, they hit it, they go in,
never see
inside.
it. Yep.
They don't pay attention to it, and so I try to walk around the house as I'm going on a listing presentation and point things out and say, hey, here's some things that I think are going to come up. It'd be best if we can address these before we get there because, this could come back and bite us later. A, from people avoiding putting an offer in on the property, and B, it can come back and bite you once we're, under contract on something too.
So after we've, taken amazing pictures and we've talked about curb appeal. What do you think the next most important thing is that a seller needs to be aware of?
Yeah, well, actually, I'm going to take one little step back and talk about right before we get to the pictures. I should have brought this up earlier, staging.
Yep.
And so at that listing presentation, and I usually set the expectation like, hey, we don't have to do this today. Like, we're not rearranging your house. We're not doing all kinds of stuff today. But I'm going to go through with that homeowner and point out some things that probably need to be gone for when pictures come in. Because what we're really trying to showcase is livability, space, and I have a little guide that we hand out to our clients that kind of explain like, if for a closet, when you open it up, should have 25% available space. Don't have it packed to the brim with clothes. Don't have it packed full of brim with shoes. Pack away the things you don't need because, hey, you're fixing to move. Get a head start. Let's get going.
The point behind that, though, is that when you have packed closets and a buyer opens them, they're already...
Psychologically...
They're putting together, this house doesn't have great storage. It's not big enough for me.
If the current homeowner is, busting out the seams, they're automatically going to say...
I am going to be too.
I can't fit in this house.
Yep.
Because they're going to kind of take on the persona of the house. That's why you want to have it neutrally staged and, have it really, really clean. I mean, that's another thing is, cleanliness is make sure it's clean because one person's clean doesn't usually match this other person's clean. I run into that a lot.
And to be fair, one person's clean is maybe not the same thing as on the market for showings clean.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that maybe needed to be another video, but, something that we've recently started doing, and I think it's making a big difference for what we do, is we have an amazing graphic designer that's helping us with the virtual staging. And so all of our vacant listings, we're virtually staging those, and that's helping because we put the vacant property picture up, and then we put that really pretty virtually staged, and we tell them it's virtually staged so that everybody knows, but it can give people an idea of what it could look like if you had furniture in there. What would the flow of the room look like? Because some people just don't have the vision.
Yeah, that's so true.
They can't tell. Like, can I fit my furniture in here? How big is this space? And so I'd say, coming along the staging aspect is getting virtual staging done and then helping clients understand what should disappear and be packed away and maybe take to a storage center or something like that before we list the house.
Yep. And just one more thing to point out there, that when we're going through that process with our clients, none of it's personal. We're not saying we don't like your style. We don't like blah, blah, blah.
Right.
We're just trying to make it look as good as it can online and in person when those showings start.
I usually have a statement that I tell my sellers. I say, have you ever stayed in an Airbnb or a VRBO? And most people have. And I'll say, well, you rent that space, you walk in on a Friday, you're going to be there for the weekend. You drop your bags, you feel comfortable. That's your space. You don't feel like you're in someone else's space. So we want to neutralize the personality in the house so that when a buyer walks in, they feel really comfortable to explore the property, to open a cabinet, to open a closet and check space. If you've got personal possessions and stuff everywhere, they feel really uncomfortable because that's the natural instinct of people, is to not be invading other people's space. Like, when you go visit someone, you don't go use the bathroom in their master bathroom. You don't go get into their master bathroom's cabinet to get something out. You're using the guest facilities. And so that's the same thing when showing a house. I mean, I've got so many clients that I've buyers that we walk through property and there'll be somebody's makeup all over the cabinet, perfume bottles everywhere, medication, just big boxes of medication everywhere. And that just makes people feel uncomfortable. Just without even telling me, I can tell they're ready to get out of the space. They're just uncomfortable.
And if a buyer's not comfortable at a showing,
They're not right.
9 times out of 10, they're not moving forward.
Oh, I have another really good one. The stuff on the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Take it off. Because it's usually wedding invitations, kids' pictures, invitations for something, certificates, it's your life. That is your billboard for your home and all the things that you got going on. Guess what every buyer is going to do when they walk in that property? They're going to look at every single picture. If you got diplomas hanging on the wall, if you got work certificates, whatever, that's their natural instinct. They want to know who lives there. They'll figure out if they know you or not. And so that's what they do. They'll walk through the house and they'll say, oh, you're the FedEx Pilot house. They don't remember it as the house with the amazing pool in the backyard and the large den. It's the FedEx Pilot's house. Or the messy bedroom house. And so it's people come up with nicknames. It's just distracting. That leads me to the next one. What do you think about repairs?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So one of the things that we always like to encourage our sellers to do, if they can afford to do so, is to go ahead and have a pre-listing home inspection done. Let's go ahead and figure out what the issues are so that we can A, address them, or B, be ready for them when they come up, because the buyer's going to do an inspection and it's going to come up then. So at doing that pre-inspection, that really helps us as agents and sellers, get on the same page, understand what the issues are, and just get ahead of what's going to come down the line once we get under contract.
Yeah, because the worst thing that could happen is get an offer, your house comes off the market, you've negotiated terms that is acceptable between the buyer and seller. Now it's time for the buyer to have a home inspection, and they're investing in that home inspection, and they come back and they find a whole laundry list of things. Could be minor, could be major. I don't know, just random stuff. But those home inspection reports notoriously are 50 to 60 pages.
Always.
Of insight. And it's valuable information.
But it can be scary.
It could be scary. And it could just say, hey, light fixture doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because it needed a bulb. But the home inspector doesn't carry bulbs around. They're not going to go rumbling through the cabinets and find a bulb and check it out and go, oh, it works.
Right.
And so it's best to have kind of be ready for that home inspector, number one, when the buyer's home inspector comes in. But be ready for them, as in you've prepared the home and gotten all your repairs and stuff done. So
and then it's not a surprise, even if it's maybe not something that you want to fix right away. Like maybe, for example, a house needs a new roof. Maybe you don't have the funds to put a new roof on as a seller, but we know walking into a buyer's inspection that may come up, and that allows us to be transparent with buyers as well. It also allows those repair conversations with sellers also help inform that listing price.
Right.
Because that's kind of where we're deciding, like, should we be a little under the market? Should we be at market? Should we be above market? Everything's brand new. It's new construction, whatever.
Right.
But the condition of the property really does inform that price point.
Well, you brought up something else too that people need to be aware of when it has to do with repairs is, the on your property conditions disclosure. Disclosing as much as possible that it is not tattletelling on your house so that people won't want to buy it. It's really protecting yourself to say, I'm aware of these things. We haven't addressed them yet. I'm not saying that they may not even be saying they won't address them, but at the moment of filling out that document, this is the status of the house and the things that we know about. I mean, I have my clients, if there's a crack in the driveway. I don't care how minor it is. Crack in the driveway.
Yep.
If we have fogged windows, there's a fogged window.
Because do you know how frustrating it is, too, when you're working on the buyer side and you go and you pull that disclosure statement off the MLS and there's nothing on it, but the seller's lived there for 15 years?
Yeah.
You're telling me you know nothing about the... yeah. Come on.
Exactly. So I think, too, it level sets it with the buyer because they see it and they go, yeah, I mean, they told us there was a crack in the driveway. They told us that they previously had a water leak here. They told us that these windows are fogged and stuff like that. And so they don't feel like people are hiding something from them.
Yes, it builds trust in the process.
Yes. And the other thing, too, is from a seller's perspective, a buyer can't back out of a contract on something you've already disclosed them on. So they can't come back and say, hey, whoa, I found in the home inspection that there was a previous water damage, on behind this toilet.
No, you signed to acknowledge that you saw that.
We told you all about it. And that's not to say a buyer wouldn't find another reason to try to cancel the contract, but they can't cancel it for that. And so that's why it's important to kind of know the condition of the house, disclose it, fix it, and just go on the market as good as you can because it's going to bring you the best offer.
Yep, absolutely. So that brings us to our fifth important insight that sellers need to know. So what are your opinions on how do we time the market? How do we use our crystal ball and figure this out?
Yeah, because we definitely have pocket crystal balls.
Yeah.
But there are some standard things that we can know. Like, I have a thing about, I don't want to list a house except for Tuesday, Wednesday, sometimes Thursday. I don't want to do price adjustments on houses unless it's like sometime during the week. I try not to do them on the weekend. And the reason why is I feel like you lose the momentum that it creates in the market. There's a thing called syndication. And so when a house hits the market, it's syndicating out, hitting all the different little websites. It's hitting all the subscription emails that everybody's got set up to receive, information on new houses that are hitting the market or price adjustments. And so if you hit it at a time when people aren't paying attention, like a Saturday, and people are already busy, or a holiday weekend, or a big SEC football weekend.
It's not happening.
Back to school weekend, Christmas holiday, New Year's Eve. There's just days that you don't do things. And so working with your agent to figure out what's the right timing. So usually at the listing appointment, I'm starting to back in a calendar. Like, okay, Mr. Seller, I see here that we've got some decluttering to do. How long is it going to take you to do the things that I just pointed out? You need a week and a half? Okay, great, week and a half. And then we're going to need to get a professional cleaner in here. And so we need a day for that. Okay. And then we need to, have photography done. And I'm going to need at least 3 days, maybe 4, to get all the photography back. If I need to do any staging or any digital, making any adjustments, I try to have 4 days and then build the listing out and then go live. And I'm trying to stay in that Tuesday to Thursday window. So we'll come up with a date. And so right there at the listing appointment, we're setting dates. Photography is going to be this day. I usually set the appointment while I'm there. And so timing is absolutely everything. And sometimes I've told my clients, hey, it's just not the right time to put your house on the market. There's a lot on the market. Days on market are sitting. You're not in a hurry. We haven't started looking for you a property yet. Let's give it 3 weeks. You just do all these things and sit tight. And then when you're ready, we're going to do it. Another example of timing is I'll have people contact me and say, hey, I'm going to be selling the house in November this year because this is happening in my life and I'm going to be able to be ready to move. I just want to let you know, what do we need to be doing? Oh, great. You caught me in summertime when your plants are gorgeous in your yard. Get your yard cut, and I'm going to come over with my photographer, and we're getting outside pictures. Yeah. And so we'll have these things going on, but we'll be waiting, and then we put it on the market when it's time.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that just about covers it for us for today.
I think so.
Yeah, awesome. Well, if you are looking to sell your home in the state of Mississippi or Tennessee, Jamie or I would love to help you. If you enjoyed our content today, feel free to like and give us a subscribe. All right.
Bye.
Bye. If you're thinking about making a move in and around DeSoto County, Mississippi, our experts at Local Agency Realty Group would love to help you.
Whether it be a starter home, luxury home, a custom build, an investment property, or even land, we understand the market and can help you explore the local communities to find the right fit for you.
But we can't help you unless you reach out. So give us a call, send us a message, or shoot us a text. We're here for you days, nights, or weekends. Let Local Agency Realty Group lead you home. We did good.
Yeah. It's getting better.
Yes. We totally forgot that whole like and subscribe ask last time.
Yeah.